It's never going to look really pretty the first couple of times you do it, or maybe it does. I don't know. This is the first time I've done it, and it doesn't look pretty.
Brum! I'm an engine.
We have the Rust Master.
The Rust Master.
That was completely wrong. Welcome back. We're just going to get straight into it. We didn't finish everything I wanted to do last episode, so we're just going to cut the roof back to where we need to meet this rear wall panel, then start trimming across the top and separating this little thickness on the underside of the roof skin. So let's start cutting. With the back cut off, now I need to just remove this second thickness. I need to do this very slowly so I don't put too much heat into the roof panel though. Groovy. Just wait for that car to go up in the hoist. Gutter's cut off. I've trimmed off one of the thicknesses, both sides at the front. Let's just test fit the roof. We're really good over here. Oh yeah, that's good. We're not really good over here. Pretty good over here. Are we still good on the other side? Yeah. That is really good. That is, I'll say it again, really good. So, next step, I put some 25mm spacers in there, but I don't think I need them anymore. I need my little clamps. That is like spot on over here. It's a little bit off over here. We want to be like there. Where did I put that template? I showed this in the last episode. This is a template of what the roof curve should look like. When I cut the C-pillars off the roof, put this up, drew it on, just so I can see how far off it is. Oh, wow, that's so good. There's the top mark over there. That is like spot on. Okay, it worked. Yes. All right, so the next step in this puzzle of a car is working out how we get the inner wheel arch to attach to the rear quarter. I've got some ideas. There's going to be a large weld onto the rear quarter, which means we want to be able to get underneath it to dress it up so it doesn't rust later on. And we need something to come up from behind the wheel arch and then come out with a really long weld, or maybe we can work out how to spot weld it to the panel. And then those two pieces come flat and get welded together. I'm not completely sure how I'm going to do this, but with how crazy everything works for me, with the bottle shop job, I met someone who's like a street over who has a guillotine and a sheet metal folder. We're going to head over there, we're going to cut some steel, we're going to fold some steel, And we're gonna kind of work out how this happens and how this works, because I don't know how that's gonna work or happen yet. That was completely wrong.
Yep.
Flip it over. Okay, let me have a look.
Then you can just tap it down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've just left South Coast Food Trucks. I have a piece that I think is going to work. This is the bit that I just folded up. Let's try it, and then I can develop a picture of how it's going to work. And this probably isn't going to be the first bit I use, but at least it'll get me an idea of what I'm doing. So this is the bit that attaches to the rear quarter. I haven't made this bit long enough, which I'm really happy I bought extra. But I would mark this, cut that out, and then this will butt weld to there. So this would be the top all the way through, and honestly, I think that's gonna work, which I don't know how I keep doing this. It doesn't make sense. The idea shouldn't work the first time, but it is. It's gonna work. It lines up here, it lines up here. I can probably have the fold come down a little bit further. I didn't want to have a huge pinch point, but like your finger's not going to get caught in there yet, and it is still going to be up higher. How good does that look? Now I'm going to go back to South Coast Food Trucks. I'm going to cut 2 more pieces slightly wider, have this slightly longer. This has a safety fold on it, and then make those 2 bits, and that's half of it done. We're back, folding more stuff. This is the piece that I just test fitted. I'm gonna make the return fold just a little bit longer so it looks a little bit beefier on the inside of the tub, and it'll make it easier to fold and press it down flat. This was such a small little fold that it didn't want to do it nice and neatly, so I had to hammer it, and then you get little dings, and it's not like you run your hand along it, and it doesn't feel like an OEM part. So we'll cut out 1 piece. I'm not going to make 2 of these because I'm still not overly sure that this is going to work. But we'll cut out 1 piece, fold it, and we'll come back. Now we've got a bit that there's no sharp edge. We can have the little right angled bit that's coming up from the wheel arch tucked neatly in there. Do a little spot weld. We'll have to use some body filler where the spot welds are to keep this top face nice and clean, but that's how we're going to join the 2 panels together. This is for the rear quarter. Now let's do the one for the wheel arch. Now we've got our 2 sections. Top, this is going to go behind the wheel arch. The top piece is going to get welded to the rear quarter, and then we'll be able to spot weld them together and put a little bit of seam sealer under here wherever they join. They might be in, they might be out, I don't know. I'm making this all up again. Nothing new. Okie dokie, we're back in the workshop. We've got the piece that I originally kind of didn't do correctly sitting in there. I've cut it out as I need to make it so it sits in there properly. I've got to template the top of the rear quarter, transfer that onto the piece that we're going to be using. Since I've been doing this project, every time someone finds a picture of an E30 ute, they send it to me. And some of them look better than others. Some of them don't quite look right. I haven't found one that I've been like, yeah, that is like spot on. That's kind of what I'm working towards. And I think I kind of worked it out. Like, I sat in front of this car for 4 hours, looking at the lines, looking at how things flowed, the rear quarter panel. And I think a lot of the issue with the E30 utes that I've seen is on this angle, they've just gone flat. And the E30, although it's real boxy, has these flowing lines, these long curves, especially the M3. And I think that's part of the problem. I can keep this line nice and straight, but there has to be a little bit of a curve in this top piece. Now that I've worked all of that out, I have no problem cutting this up, putting it in and looking at how it all fits together. The problem is I can't weld anything together yet because I still don't have the other rear quarter. I need to do the rear quarter, the wheel arch. I'm going to need to mess around with how the fuel goes into the fuel filler neck. And when I've fixed this panel on, it's out slightly. If I put the tailgate on, I may need to push it in. And if I've got this piece welded into the rear quarter panel, it could make it really difficult to move it. So all of this is just trying to answer a question before it gets too late without actually putting it all together. We're going to get this other piece fitted in, looking neatly, so then we can see how much that face comes down because that safety fold is a little longer. I really need that rear quarter. As far as I'm aware, it's all been confirmed. We're just waiting for it to be delivered and it should be here hopefully in the new year. BMW Adelaide did say I'd receive my panel in January. They never said by which January though. That's going to work really well. You can see there is just a slight curve in it, and that's what I was talking about, where I think if you just do this panel completely flat, it loses some of the E30 lines and doesn't look quite right. I think that's pretty much all I need to know from here. I can't cut this bit off of the rear quarter yet. I don't completely know what I'm doing with the B-pillar. Can't finalize the B-pillar until everything else is in. With all of that done, roof is looking good. I have a pretty good idea of how I'm going to join this to this, but I don't want to be cutting anything off either of the panels because I haven't even fitted off the rear quarter. I've kind of reached a point where I can't do a whole lot more with any of the panels that I've got. So the only things we can do with these panels for now is just clean them up and then prime them in black so they look like the rest of the other panels on the car, except the cardboard B-pillar. That's probably going to look like that for a little while. And that includes the bonnet and the roof. So, time to prep. I'm not trying to get it back to bare metal. I have gotten it back to bare metal in a couple of spots, but the factory put on a good primer, it's not rusting, and I don't want to bare metal it because I'm opening a can of worms that I have no experience with. So I've sanded it, Scotch-Brighted it, And that's all I'm gonna do. It just gets primed black. I'll get the bonnet off the car next. I've got to strip off the badge and then the windscreen washers, and then just do the same thing. Then the rear window, the base, and the wheel arch. My camera cut out halfway through. Again, very hot day, just overheated. Kind of know what it feels like right now. I am hot and sweaty. But we have prepped the top of the bonnet. There is a dent in there, and there are some bits that I got through to the base metal. Put a base coat of black just to seal all of the bare metal. It'll all be one color. It'll all look terrific. And I can put it back onto the car. The car will just look a little bit nicer when it's all in the one color. It's hot. It is warm. The next three pieces are not going to be as easy. These are just a nice big flat surface, like the roof and the bonnet. The next ones are going to be an absolute nightmare. Did I mention it's hot? Well, they're black. And they look pretty dang good. So we've got the roof and the bonnet black. I have very little experience in this. I am slowly picking up bits and pieces. This was my first one. You can still see grind marks and not quite good enough. This is my second one, and I mean, they're getting better. It's all just learning. I am slowly realizing that anytime I try to take a second bite at it, I just make it worse. So for the next ones, I'll just clean them up best I can, probably etch prime them, and then maybe do a thin skim coat, just so Eden can't see how badly I've done this. Still some spot welds that I haven't messed with, haven't tried to clean up, and that's mainly because I'm undecided whether or not I want to leave them on there. A spot weld is a factory feature. I'm not sure if this is a show car. It probably isn't. Like, this is the first car that I've built, and I don't think this is going to be the best car that I ever build. I think I want this one to look factory. And if that's the case, I need to leave some spot welds. There's not any metal behind any of them. When someone looks inside the tub at a car show and they see all of these little spot welds, if they haven't seen the videos, they might not know. So I'm going to leave them in there for now. I may fill them. I may just bog over the top of them and hide them, but I need to make that decision. To help with that decision, with the last video being fairly successful by my standards, I'm now monetized, and I think that calls for another t-shirt giveaway. So I want you to start your comment with fill or leave. So I know whether or not I should fill the spot welds or leave. If you've started your comment with one of those two words, you'll go into the draw for a t-shirt, same kind of one that I've worn in basically every one of my videos recently. I'll send it anywhere in the world, pretty much any size. If you're requesting a really odd size, I may need to get it made up, but I'll do that. Let me know. Do I leave them in there and keep them looking factory, or do I remove them and make it look more show car-y? Cool. Got a worn out 150 pad. I don't know how many times I need to say this, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Someone's going to be going, no, don't use that. Use a 80 grit. I don't know, whatever. I'm doing this. Hopefully it works. If not, I'll just bog it again. There is still so much bodywork to do on this. But I've filled some holes, I've cleaned up some lines, and when it all gets primed in black, you'll never be able to tell. It's good to just get a little bit of prep, get it a little bit closer to where it's going to need to be in the end. Oh yeah, how good does that look? So, can you tell where the weld is? I can. From the camera, you might not be able to, but it's that rib right there. And I mean, that's factory. That's factory. So I've got 2 more panels to do, the base and the rear. But while I'm doing that, we have the Rust Master.
The Rust Master.
You said you weren't going to do the crab pose again. So we're going to take the bonnet off and we're going to start doing the rust in the firewall. I'm going to keep doing these and we're going to set Eden up doing the rust.
Make some patches and...
Weld some holes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what that look like. We've got to take the bonnet off first.
Yeah,
so.
well, let's do that and we can show you. You don't remember from, I reckon it would be like episode 3 where we took it all apart, took the engine out. You don't remember that?
Which January was this?
What do you think?
It's rusty. Like every E30 I've ever looked at.
Yeah. There are holes everywhere.
Yeah.
There's another one under there. The battery tray is rusty, but that's going to get removed because the battery is going to go behind the passenger seat. So we just need to remove the battery tray and then repair whatever's rusted.
Okay, so that's getting cut out.
Yep.
Okay. Sweet.
How long? Like
I don't quite rust.
2-3 hours?
What? Like this one here, there's actually 2 patches. We're going to have to do one there, cut that off, and then do one on the top because...
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously depends what you're going to do. If you're going to shave the bonnet, we won't. Engine bay, whatever it's called.
I do want to make the engine bay look a little prettier, but
Yeah.
we'll put the engine in, put everything that we need in, and then work out what we can take out.
Yeah, so what, like, if you were shaving an engine bay, what you'd do is you'd actually run along and weld all these up, grind the welds back, and then you'd use filler. But we can actually, because we're fixing rust, if you want to shave all these joins, we can just make them as one patch and like weld them in together there. So it basically saves us having to do that process after.
Yeah,
and
okay.
also saves us having to do, 2 patches.
Sure. Every time I invite Eden to help me on my car, it just, because I have no idea what I'm doing, he makes it so much more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm good at. Yeah, and these need to be reinforced.
Yes. Yeah.
For the coilovers.
Yep. Well, there's...
So all those E30 people out there, coilovers will destroy your chassis. Unless you reinforce them.
All right. Well, we'll do that. Which one are we doing first, mate? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Might cut the tray out first, I reckon, and see what's under there.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do the battery tray first. Good, because that's the bit that I have no idea how to do.
Yeah.
All right. For continuity purposes, I'm going to keep working on this. Eden's in the background doing his rust repairs, but we'll show all of that after, because I don't know how to edit that into the story very well. We'll finish these, then we'll go to the rust repairs. This is Workshop Lewis looking out for you, Office Lewis. I got you this time, pal. Thanks, Workshop Lewis. That actually did help quite a bit. And while I'm here, I think I'm going to thank this episode's band, New Zealand band. One of the viewers from the previous episode suggested them. I got in contact with them, said, hey, can I use your music? And they've gone, yeah, sure. Just leave a link in the description. If you are in a band or know someone in a band, shoot me a message over Facebook or Instagram, and then we can work it out from there. So I can keep showcasing smaller bands just like I'm a smaller YouTuber, and we can grow together. Cheers. This one's done now. It should all look pretty schmick when Eden paints it. Hey, Eden? He's got his headphones on, he can't hear me. This is the last one. This one's not as bad. I've got to fill these 2 holes. The rest of them are in line with the little slatty bits. A little bit of panel beating to get some of them flat. This one looks horrible. Scuff it up and send it. And that's the last one done. I'm very happy about this because I don't want to do this anymore. It looks pretty good. Like, you would think some ute beds would have really big dings in it. This one's fairly good condition, so it should come up pretty well. That's all of the panels in the rear done. How good do they look? Woo. There's still plenty of bodywork that needs to be done, but just having it in one color, different glosses, different shades, but one color, really ties it all together and helps me visualize how it's all going to work in the end. Super happy with that. Thank you again, Eden. Feel free to skip this next bit. It's a bit of talking, but I want to say thanks to Caleb, firstly, for becoming my first Patreon. And I want to let you all know that I now have a Patreon. Some people have asked. I've finally been monetized by YouTube, so I can actually attach the Patreon link. It'll be down in the description. I will be slowly building up a merch store as well, just to sell the t-shirts that I wear. Not the actual t-shirts I'm wearing, like fresh, new t-shirts that I have made. I've got some basketball jerseys that I'll be putting up as well. Kind of trying to get the design right before I try and sell them. If you want to support the page, check out the Patreon, check out the merch store when I eventually get around to doing it. And thank you very much for everyone who's watching. My last video it's sitting on like 45,000 views, which is huge for me. I'm a smaller channel, but we're getting there. Look. Now that all of this is done, we can catch you up on the rust repairs that have been going on in the engine bay.
Brum! I'm an engine. Here's a cool little trick. Cut a few little holes in it. Now I can kind of lay it over here and grab my tape. And by my tape, I mean Lewis's tape. See if you can, let's go over there a bit. Yep. Sorry, I'm not too great at this videoing thing. So we just put this over like this. And then, yep, just kind of put it in, boom. And that should hold it nice and square for us. Yeah, I have no idea why that turned off. It says 75% battery, but it's on now. Again, I don't know why that's turning off, but what? Yeah, so I figured it out and it was overheating, so let's put it in the fridge.
And this is where we're up to. You saw the plate, the other patch down the bottom there, and I left Eden here overnight to just work on it. Didn't leave him the camera, so he didn't have to worry about it. Now I'm gonna start worrying about getting this one in. I've gone to put it in and then noticed on the inside there's still more rust. So I'm gonna make a patch panel to go from here to here, because that outside radius is fine. It's just this lower face that's rusted out. Eden is still going on the other side. He's just putting metal in. There's gonna be people going, hey, I wish you showed more of the process. I don't pay Eden anything, and I can't tell him to slow down or wait for the camera. He just wants to get things done, so I apologize for that. But again, thank you to Eden. I made the piece. I've made it long on that face, but it fits in nicely. I'll mark it out, cut it out. This is in a really awkward spot. All right, we got some new metal in there. It's not the prettiest, but I mean, I'm not a panel beater and I've never done rust repairs. And to be fair, I probably would have done it even worse if Eden didn't do most of this for me. There's one battery tray, God damn it. There's a battery tray deleted. In the last episode, I had this thing where my camera kept dying because it was overheating. It's still doing it. So I finished welding this. I didn't notice the camera had turned off. Given that I have like no videography skills, if you have experience with cameras overheating or know what to do or any ways I can fix it, message me on Instagram or Facebook, because I got no idea. On the topic of overheating, a while back, I got a Black Knight basketball jersey made up. I didn't really get enough to sell. I kind of want to just try and find the right manufacturer and get it all sorted. But if it's something that you'd be interested in the future, or if you're interested in it now, can you let me know in the comments? Because I'm not going to make them if I'm not at that point yet. With all of that said, just come over here and I'll show you where I got to before my camera died. And hopefully I can do this before slightly less rust in the chassis, and it looks considerably better. It's not terrific, but again, I'm still learning and I'm still getting happier with how I'm going about it, working out how I need to adjust my welder settings to make things look neater and flatter. You can't see that, but that looks pretty good. I painted it black, so you can't see it though. Pretty tricky, eh? Pretty good. Like, I'm pretty happy with that. Like, it's not perfect. Like, this is my second rust patch, and there's a giant bit of foam that covers this. You're not even gonna see it. And I've still tried to keep some of the detail. Sure, it could use probably a little bit of panel beating. Are there any holes? 2 holes. I'll fill those 2 holes, and that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. All right, I know I've skipped over a lot of these rust repairs, but it's one of those things that I'm really not that confident with. I've never really done it before, and I felt like I needed to give myself the time to learn. I'm confident-ish now. I wouldn't say confident's a great word to describe it. I've done some finishing plates after Eden's kind of gotten it most of the way there. As you've seen, I think I filmed a little bit of this one. The next patch is in here. I've cut out this patch just here, and there are some details on there. This is the patch that I've cut out. There's a little detail that comes up, and then this one that comes around. I've got a piece of steel, marked out where those lines are, and I'm just gonna start hitting it in. Just looking through the camera, I can see that this is a little bit of a bigger radius on the corner. There is more of a corner, I should say. The other detail is completely rusted out, so I can't really get that wrong. We'll get this dolly in the vise and start beating this around, and let's just see where it gets to. I'll leave a link in the description of one of the videos that I watched recently that kind of gave me a little bit more confidence. It's my mechanics who's doing a 240Z, a Datsun 240Z, who, I don't know a lot about rust repairs, but they seemed really clean. So if you want to watch proper rust repairs, maybe go watch him. Let's bash some steel. Some of you have met Greg before. He's looking a little worse for wear. Maybe we need to re-Gregify him, but for now, you're just gonna have to put up with it, Greg. First attempt, I don't think I got the corner quite right. I've cut out another one to give it another go. I mean, it's almost there, but not quite. And I don't think I'm completely happy with the hammer, the point that I'm using. So I might try something different. I reckon I'm gonna try the other end. I was using the point, but well, actually, Eden left me a hammer. A little bit more rounded, I don't know. That's pretty good. That wasn't too bad. It's never going to look really pretty the first couple of times you do it, or maybe it does. I don't know. This is the first time I've done it, and it doesn't look pretty. Don't be afraid to try. Never be afraid to try. Maybe sometimes be afraid to try. Probably sometimes. But welding repairs or rust repairs ain't that bad. Give it a go yourself. There we go. Fits in there nicely. Put a picture up now. Now, with this, I want to do a little bit of story time. So if you don't want to hear me yabbering on about something completely unrelated, just skip ahead. But I've got a saying that I try to live by, and it's, you've got to lift rocks to find crabs. A couple of years ago, Sarah and I we were out doing something, and Sarah said, do you want to go see if we can find some crabs? We were near the beach. We went and tried to find some crabs. And then next year we did it on the same day, but we made a competition of it.
Get one?
Yeah. What?
I didn't think they'd be up here.
Medium-sized boy.
Pick them up.
No.
Like first crab, biggest crab, smallest crab, most crabs. And Sarah was too scared to pick up the rocks. What if a crab bites me? Well, I mean, it's a crab. And then next year, she said, that's it. I'm gonna lift rocks. I'm gonna lift rocks. I'm gonna beat you. She didn't, just to spoil that part of the story. But I came up with this saying, you've got to lift rocks to find crabs. And it really works for everything. You've got to ask questions to find answers. You've got to try to succeed. You're going to try sometimes and you're going to fail. But you've got to lift rocks to find crabs. I'm a little disappointed in myself for not even trying to do some of these rust repairs before Eden came along. I mean, I'm really happy with this one, and I could have done most of them myself. And I should have tried to lift that rock, but I was scared a crab was going to bite me. Just remember, you got to lift rocks to find crabs. With all that said, let's get this bad boy welded in. This took way longer than I thought it would. And it's part of the reason why this video has taken so long to come out. But let's just finish this up and call it a day, shall we? All right, we're gonna finish the video here. There's still a bunch of stuff for me to do off camera, but it is in really awkward spots. I'm hoping in the next video, I'm gonna have my other rear quarter by then, and we can start finishing up the rest of the bodywork in the rear, really making it look like a ute. But I mean, I've been waiting 13 months. Until I have the panel, I can't really gauge on how long it's gonna take. Just as a reminder, in the comments, leave fill or leave to let me know what you think I should do as far as the spot welds in the rear go. I'm still undecided. I still don't know what I want to do, so your comments will help me decide what needs to happen. I'll send the t-shirt anywhere. When do I announce the winner? I'll announce the winner of the t-shirt in the next video, which hopefully takes about 4 weeks. I know it's a long time in between each video, but because I really have very little knowledge on building cars, I'm basically learning as I go and then kind of filming it, and it just takes a little bit of time to get things put together. I want to say a big thanks to Ian and anyone who's still watching, to be honest, because I mean, I know my videos are pretty long, but this is the kind of content that I watch, and this is the kind of content I kind of enjoy creating. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.